Hello, my good people. Welcome to another episode of Farm with Paul. And today we are going to talk more about dairy cows. Because for you to achieve profitability in dairy cows, there are several processes that you have to undertake for you to be able to produce maximum when it comes to dairy farming. And one of the things that we are going to talk about is a process that we call drying off. And in that case, we are going to know what is drying off, how do we define drying off, and we're also going to know what are the advantages of drying off, and we're also going to show you and elaborate on how we actually do drying off here in the farm step by step for us we can be able to achieve the required standard of milk production in the farm. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media on Facebook, YouTube, and even on TikTok for you to be able to be enlightened more on how we do farming here at Farm with Paul. What is drying off? Drying off is defined as the process whereby we stop milking an in-calf cow. It's a process that starts in the 7th month that requires the draw of concentrate to be able to reduce the amount of milk so that we can be able to dry the cow. What are the advantages of drying off? When drying off your cow, it is very important to note that you are preparing your cow for the next lactation, which will take approximately 304 days if you manage your cow as it is required. So one of the most important thing is drying off will help in repairing both the cow and the udder. It will help in healing because for the whole period you have been milking that cow. Meaning when you dry off and stop milking, you'll be able to facilitate healing of the udder and also the recovery of the cow itself. It also helps in facilitating the start of a process that we call steaming up so that you can prepare your cow for the next lactation, which steaming up we'll talk more on our next video. When should drying off start? Typically on a normal day whereby the cow was served at the right time and is able to actually calve every year, it starts at the 7th month whereby we completely dry the cow. But there are some scenarios which some of you can bear me witness whereby a cow itself starts drying off itself immediately you have served it, and these challenges are brought about by milking your cow for a very long time without serving it. And when you serve that cow, you realize that it drastically reduces the amount of milk. To some point it automatically dries itself, probably even before it achieves the 4th month. So for you to be able to achieve proper drying off period, make sure all the other managements are adhered to and production of milk will be very good. What are some of the challenges that you'll face if you fail to dry off your cow in the right way? One of the things that you'll encounter is you'll have a cow that will not produce maximally during the next lactation. For example, if you milk for a whole 8 months and probably sometimes milk for even the 9th month and wait and probably dry your cow for the last 2 weeks or 3, that means your cow will not have healed its udder and it won't have been able to store enough feeds that will be able for body recovery after calving. So it is very important for you to dry your cow so that the next lactation can be of profit and beneficial to you. Remember, we are preparing the next lactation that is approximately going to take around 300 days and above. Meaning this drying period is very important, including the steaming period, which we are going to talk about it later on. It is important to note that drying off only happens to milkers. So it doesn't happen to heifers that are calving for the first time because they were not previously producing milk. But steaming up which is, we are going to talk about it later, happens for both the milker and also for the heifers that have achieved above 8 months in calf. So note that drying off only happens to the milkers. Follow us as we go to the other side of the farm, whereby we are going to actually show you step by step on how we actually dry off our cow here on the farm. We have 2 cows that we are drying off completely by the end of this month, and we are going to explain to you how we do it so that you can tell us in the comment section. Also, is it the same way you always do it, or you do it different? You can also tell us in the comment section if we are able to do what is required of the drying off process. Tell us also any question that you may have so that we can be able to answer you in our subsequent videos. See you as we go to the other side of the farm and see what is going on that side. Welcome back as I show you by examples on how we dry off our cows practically here on the farm. For example, we have these 2 cows that will be drying off this month. But how did we start for that we can be able to achieve a seamless drying off period that will be beneficial to the cow and also help the cow during the next lactation? Follow us as I show you step by step of each and every process. We start our drying off in the 6th month, and in the 6th month this is what we do. We first start by reducing the amount of concentrates we are feeding on this cow. This is because the process of drying off should be step by step and should not be instant, meaning we are able to reduce the stress. Now what we do is we first reduce the amount of concentrate we are feeding per day. For example, if a cow was feeding approximately 7 kgs or 5 kgs of concentrate, we reduce to almost 3 kgs of concentrate. That means that cow will be forced to reduce the amount of milk it is producing. After that, what we do, if we are milking the same cow 3 times a day, we are going to change it and start milking 2 times in a day. That is in the 6th month. Meaning, before we achieve on the 7th month, that cow would have reduced the amount of milk it is producing. The other thing we do here in the farm is we reduce the amount of salt we are feeding to that cow. For example, if a cow was consuming approximately 300 grams per day of salt, we are going to reduce that amount of salt by half. That means we are going to feed it approximately 150 grams. It means that cow will be able to reduce the amount of milk it is producing per day. The next thing that we are going to do is continue reducing the amount of concentrate gradually, and also reduce the amount of times that we are milking this cow. And all this step is taking place on the 6th month of pregnancy of that cow. Now, when we head on the 7th month, the cow should have completely reduced the amount of milk. For example, if on the 6th month the cow was producing approximately 20 liters of milk, that means by the time we are on the 7th month, that cow should be producing around 10 liters or below. And by then, we can now introduce what we call the dry therapy tubes. The dry therapy tubes are installed in the teats of the cow, and this will help to prevent diseases that might occur if the cow still contains some amount of milk. And how do we install these tubes? One, we first milk the cow completely all the milk. Then we have the 4 tubes, the dry tubes, then install it one by one in each chamber of the udder. And after that, we completely stop milking the cow, and we can now wait for the cow to completely shrink out the udder. After a week later, we will be embarking on what we call steaming up, depending on the condition of the cow itself, which steaming up is what we are going to talk on our next video. So make sure you follow us so that you can be able to also learn on how we do steaming up in the farm and the importance of steaming up in the farm. See you till next time. My name is Paul, and make sure you follow us on all our social media, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and ask any question if you have any.